Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. Today we rank the best Viking backup quarterbacks of all time.
Hey, this is Arif Hasan from the Wide Left Substack, and we might talk about Wichita basketball today.
I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings, and in honor of Joshua Dobbs, I didn't prepare at all.
Well played. Hola, mi amigos. Me llamo es Luke Inman. I got to brush up on my Spanish before I leave for Mexico. You know what I mean?
What?
That's all coming up on today's Minnesota football party.
Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. It's time for the Minnesota football party.
What is up, everyone? It's the Minnesota football party Thursday edition on Locked On Sports Minnesota. So glad you joined us today on YouTube. Locked On Sports Minnesota. We're free there, and we're free and available wherever you get your podcasts on the Locked On Vikings audio feed. We're also part of the 24/7 YouTube live stream now available at Locked On Sports Minnesota. Get your favorite teams at all hours of the day. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code, all lowercase, LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Week 10 Saints preview as the Vikings are underdogs at home against the New Orleans Saints. We're going to dive into that, preview the Saints' strengths and weaknesses, and ask if Josh Dobbs can keep it rolling and win a second straight game for the Minnesota Vikings. I also want to do a Minnesota Sports Rank'em segment, which we haven't done in a bit, and let's see the top 5 Vikings backup quarterbacks of all time. And they have a lot of options, and it's actually a really tough list. We're going to give you the number 1 man on the list. And maybe does Dobbs break in the top 5 after one performance? Ron Johnson also joins, and we have our Week 10 parlays. It is a packed episode today, so let's dive right in. Luke Inman, you going to Mexico?
Yeah, I was hoping we wouldn't.
Most important news item.
And
yeah, I was going to interject if we didn't cover it.
And Sam, I let you know before I left, too.
This is
bizarre behavior.
Thailand, dude.
We only ever find out on the show sometimes after you've left, admittedly.
I still try to call in, though, from the payphone on the street. I've done that.
Luke has called in to not this show, but a different production from Mexico that I hosted. Was that live radio?
From Thailand.
That was live
radio. No,
he
called into live radio, 105 The Ticket.
105 The Ticket.
Am I right about that?
Absolutely right. Yep, Puerto Vallarta, where we're
you've
going
called
again.
In from Mexico. You've called in from Thailand. I believe you've called in from Europe.
I have.
Yeah.
I don't want to brag about it, but I have. Yep. We're hitting multiple continents.
Luke, okay. I'm not happy. This isn't bragging.
Speaking of international flavor, when Josh Dobbs says that, like, starting for the Vikings on Sunday was prepping for a Spanish test and then actually taking was it French?
AP French. Not just AP French.
Yeah, I kind of think he would have crushed it. Like, I kind of think Josh Dobbs is one of those.
Like, he could do that, yeah.
That can learn languages very quickly, because once you learn one, then you can learn another and another. And
they're both Romance languages. He's fine.
Yeah,
they're Germanic. Yeah, like
if you got NASA tweeting at you saying props to you, man, you're killing it. I think he can handle.
Props to our employee, Joshua.
right. Employee of the month, Josh Dobbs, NASA. I think he can handle a little French for sure. I think it'd be all right.
Yeah, I mean, who knows where the planet Earth is going to be in 10 years, but it could be a situation where like they need astronauts. Josh Dobbs could be pulled out of the NFL. You might need him for space travel. But Luke Inman, before you go to Mexico, your final show, what does Josh Dobbs need to do? It's going to go badly for him. What does Josh Dobbs need to do to keep it rolling?
Yeah, to keep the magic alive. Well, first of all, I said this last week. I keep thinking about this. I keep going back to the fact that he hasn't had an offensive coach like KOC yet that's been able to understand the game from the quarterback size and really kind of cater an offense around him yet. So KOC, I think, does give him a little something that he's never had as far as that goes. So I'm willing to hold my breath. Maybe we still haven't seen the best Josh Dobbs yet. Maybe he's able to unlock something we haven't seen before. But, you know, if the question is, can he keep the magic alive, or how Does he have to do that? I think first and foremost, you got to prove to defenses that you can win from the pocket and run an offense the majority of a game by going through your progressions, winning as a passing quarterback first. Because if you can do that, then I think eventually you can force defenses to adjust, start to play more man coverage again. And that's when you're really able to expose teams with your legs and do what he does best. But until then, I think it's safe to say you're going to see a quarterback spy on him a lot. You're going to see a lot of zone looks so defenders can keep their eyes on him, make sure he doesn't scramble out of the pocket too much. So win from the pocket first, Sam. I think end of the day, every scrambling quarterback is forced to do that in the NFL eventually. If you can do that, then yeah, I think you'll at least get a handful of big scrambles and splash plays throughout the game. And they need that, man. I mean, Wes Phillips said it at the podium the other day. They've been so thirsty for some big runs by anybody. They haven't had someone go over 60 yards since the Carolina game, I believe. Madison had 96 yards in Carolina. So they haven't had a run over 19 yards all season. Dobbs gave them both last Sunday, 66 yards on the ground, only needed 7 carries to do it, 22-yard rush as well. That broke their season long. So win from the pocket, first and foremost, it starts there.
Arif, to use an astronaut cliche, how does Dobbs avoid crashing back to earth?
Learning the offense, I guess.
True.
Is it naive to say that, oh, well, now he's had 2 weeks in the building. Now he's good. I mean, that's
he will have been in the building for 12 days.
100% it's naive.
Yeah.
Still less than Josh Freeman had.
I think what's his name? Yannick Eckhart? I don't know names on Twitter. Tweeted out something like, I'm sick and tired of people pointing out that Dobbs should have thrown it to TJ Hawkinson on that touchdown run. And it's like, yeah, but he should have, right?
Like you should have. Everybody thinks that that's sick. But like also
that like
great play, throw it next time. Like that's,
don't get me wrong. They're ruled, right?
Yeah,
right.
That whipped, right? That was awesome, right? That's not happening like again a ton of times anyway, right? Like there's an open receiver that doesn't happen all the time in the NFL. You gotta take those. You gotta take it when they're open. And he did not take them when they're open because he didn't know he needed to look in that direction, which is astounding, right? You can tell the Josh Dobbs story once a day, every year, right? And still, I'd just be like, yeah, that's crazy, huh? Like,
it never stops being like insane to wrap your head around it.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna be 98 years old. Just gather around, grandkids, everybody. Come around. It's time.
Grandpa,
not again. The Josh Dobbs story again.
But
this might be like, if the Vikings don't make the playoffs, this might be the thing where you go, yeah, 2023, not much of a season, but there was that one game.
Right. Right.
Hey, you thought when I told you about the 2022 Colts game that was nuts. Well, let me regale you with the real story.
That was like the trailer before the movie. Bro.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
nothing, man.
Yeah, 2022 Buffalo, child's play. Let me tell you about the past.
Yeah,
both week 9, by the way.
Pass or not.
Buffalo,
but
November is when weird stuff starts to happen.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think that like you're not gonna, especially against I guess the Falcons should have theoretically been a good defense, but like against the Saints, you're just not going to get open receivers as often as Dobbs had open receivers available to him. And so even if he hits like half of them, that's a huge improvement. And I think that would help, right? So that's going to be big. The problem, of course, is that kind of a lot of the same obstacles will be in his way. Maybe he'll know the names of players and plays. That would be nice, but I don't know. It sounds like Christian Darrisaw is going to be good to go, but I don't know like what the receiver situation is going to be. I mean, that's kind of nuts, right? Like it's going to be difficult to kind of navigate everything. O'Connell basically said like, yeah, we, activated Justin Jefferson from IR, but it's absolutely not. He's not going to play this Sunday. So, you're not going to have Osborne. You're not going to have Akers, which, man, Alec Lewis pointed out that Akers has always been that dude, right? Like it's not just that he decleated the defensive tackle on that run. Like he's always been about that. Yeah. Which Contavious Street is good, right? Like that's
got there too. And that's the impression he leaves on his teammates.
It's just like, that's a running back, man.
He did like immediately get an interception after that.
Fumble.
Fumble. Right.
The whole
True.
same thing happened.
We must be
Linval
respectful
Joseph.
to Joshua Dobbs' passer rating.
Linval Joseph, remember when he had the touchdown, was very excited that he got an interception. He said after the game, and then someone had to tell him, "Oh, Linval, sorry, it's not how it was."
Bad news, not that bad.
We all thought it was an interception right away when he caught it.
Yeah.
Until we saw that third angle, and it was like, "Oh, okay,
Well,
that's what happened." Okay.
I think if I remember this correctly, it was really funny because the announcers were like, "They've officially ruled it an interception." And it's like, I'm looking at NFL GSIS right now. It is officially a fumble. Like they just, it's already a fumble.
They were just trying to will it.
Linval or Dobbs?
Right.
Dobbs.
The Dobbs one. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm shocked that Chris Myers wasn't on the ball there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And like they went through the rest of the drive and then commercial break, and then they come back from commercial break. They're like, I'm just getting word that it's been ruled a fumble. And it's like, come on. It was always a fumble. Initially, it was ruled a fumble. Leave me alone.
I can't. Don't get me started on that Fox broadcast last Sunday. Don't get me started. I can't.
Well, we got another one, so.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be gone.
You get Schlereth. You don't get Myers.
What do you think I'm leaving? Yeah, give me a one-way ticket, actually.
Luke's going to be watching it on like DAZN or whoever carries the international Game Pass.
Deportes.
Fubo.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. It might be on. Wait, is
Sergio
it
Dip? Maybe Sergio Dip is calling the game.
Hey,
love that.
He's having the time of his life.
Braun, talk about Josh Dobbs.
There's something that Ross Jackson told me on Crossover Thursday on the Locked On Vikings podcast that is interesting because I was talking to him about Dobbs and how he ran around and how he solved a lot of problems by just sort of escaping out and scrambling. And Ross was like, "Oh, cool. Well, the Saints have been terrible at maintaining gap integrity in their pass rush. That's just not something they do. They kind of just have four guys stunt around and then it's just go get the quarterback. They're not really playing contain against anybody, even against Tyson Bagent, which are just coming off a game where Tyson Bagent had 7 good scrambles on him. And they play a ton of man coverage on the back end. So everybody's back is turned. So there might be a world where you just see Josh Dobbs run around a whole bunch again. I think it would be a better offense if he didn't have to, but it kind of feels like it's going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, this how much can you add in a week?
The game plan.
Yeah,
I guess.
O'Connell's just gonna be like, and remember, your legs are always there. He's just gonna say that, right, and it's fine. I would suggest to the Saints to dial down the man coverage. I mean, yeah, Jordan Addison is good, and hey, Brandon Powell is where did he come from? I guess the Rams in a very literal sense, but it's what's going on here? But it's Addison and Powell. It's not, Chase and Higgins, right? It's you could do some zone.
And Jalen Naylor.
Hopefully,
probably.
right?
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Actually, quite excited for that.
We're due. We're due for
He's wide receiver too.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out if Paulson
Brandon Powell.
Yeah, well, might be Brandon Powell after the last couple games, but we're in a competition here.
Still trying to figure out if Paulson Adebo is good or if he's just kind of on a heater where he faced Minshew and Bagent, because he was the 122nd ranked cornerback last year and didn't even start the year great either.
Correct.
But he's been really good of late, and I think he created 3 turnovers last week. They do have Jordan Howden, ex-Gopher, therefore very good. They do have Honey Badger, so it's a good secondary. And obviously
it's tough for me to knock Adebo too much, because if I'm just he picked off a bunch of backup quarterbacks, what's he going to do against Joshua Dobbs? Right?
Famously
that's pretty fair. Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Let's do a little bit of Minnesota sports rankum with some great Vikings backups from the past after I give you a word from DoorDash. I get hungry usually about 8:30, 9 p.m. at night. I need a little extra something, appetizer, a dessert. Maybe it's a full meal. Maybe dinner wasn't enough. Maybe my kids ate everything off my plate and I need something for me. Well, I can order the pizza, the wings, the burgers, the pasta through DoorDash. Or if I want to cook, you can order the groceries from DoorDash as well. They will bring you your favorite restaurant food, grocery food, snacks, drinks to your door. Are you watching a game? Is it halftime? You want something fast? Hop on the DoorDash app. Order what you need for your watch party or your tailgate. DoorDash gives you so many options, and it's so easy to use. Get 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order when you download the DoorDash app. Enter code LOCKED23. That's subject to change. Terms apply. Once more, don't forget to use code LOCKED23 for 50% off up to $10 value on your first order when you download the DoorDash app and spend $15 or more. Subject to change. Terms apply. DoorDash.
This is Minnesota Sports Rankem, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota, and it starts now.
Gosh, that's dramatic. I'm just so fired up.
It's got like a Game of Thrones kind of vibe to it, doesn't it?
Got a very comic book vibe.
Yeah.
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 For sure.
I'm going to tell you who sits atop the throne for Vikings backup quarterbacks all time and tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm spot on. These are my 5. And you can give me yours. Number 5, Wade Wilson. I'm sure Luke Braun already thinks that's criminally underrated because he loves Wade Wilson, who actually kind of
we'll see who else you say. Yeah.
Turned into a decent starter actually after that.
Yeah.
Gus Frerotte in 2 stints.
Gotta have Gus on the
Gotta
list.
have Gus Frerotte.
Gus in 03 and 08. Jeff George, number 3. Case Keenum, number 2. Randall Cunningham, number 1.
That feels like cheating.
I was gonna say, like, how do we do this? Because Fran Tarkenton didn't start his first game.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater.
other
He comes
than that.
in, he's the backup to Ponder and
Right.
Castle. Like,
Well,
So
he's
how are we
how far
doing
do we go?
this?
Backup to Castle, not to Ponder. Ponder was a backup to McNabb. That's important. Not that
Like
he would make.
Cunningham,
I think
I
we
guess
know
he
what
wasn't
a
brought in to
backup
be
is.
the starter on purpose.
If you say I think we know what a backup is, then you can't put Randall Cunningham on your list.
Cunningham
Come
was
on,
brought
Sam.
in as a veteran. These are all veteran.
yeah,
backups.
he was like taken out of retirement. It would be like if we brought in Matt Ryan right now.
You know who else was taken out of retirement? Brett Favre. Come on.
Yeah,
Cunningham
but
was
Tavares Jackson
literally
was
the
not
number
the
2 to
anointed
Brad
starter.
I mean, for a bit. Who took all the ones? Who took all the reps with the ones in camp?
Well, Brett Favre didn't show up to camp.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the team
True.
yet.
That's my point. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying to
He
you.
started those preseason games though.
I get it with Cunningham. I get it because like week 1, there was no intention of ever playing him. But then Brad Johnson got hurt. Like he wouldn't have gone in.
Now, from an unlikely standpoint, I think Keenum might be number 1. Like Keenum went 0-8 with the team. I didn't think he was great in training camp, and in fact, I thought who was the other backup? I thought that their 3rd string guy Heineke, had he not kicked the door in, I thought he might be the guy. Am I getting that right?
Everybody did.
Everybody did.
Hey, you know who else didn't start when he showed up? Sam Bradford. He's number 1 on my list of backups. Sorry, I can't handle this.
I can't. Too much gray. Too much gray.
Is
John
there
Hill's the
nothing
starter.
said
Sam
for
Bradford's
intention?
back. Is there nothing that what?
To be said for intention.
No.
Okay.
All right.
That's my point.
Sam,
Reeve is thwarting this.
I think
Yeah,
I have
I'm
the
heated.
exact same.
I did no prep for this segment, and I'm heated. I have opinions.
He's riled up.
Very Josh
Fired
Dobbs of
up.
you.
Sam, I think I got the exact same. What was yours? I got Wade Wilson 5, Frerotte 4, Jeff George 3, Keenum 2, Cunningham 1. I got
Yeah.
Dobbs and Webb honorable mentions.
Do you? Did you come up with a list beforehand and just happen to be the same?
Oh, do you? Oh, you gonna cry? Oh,
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I do think Wade Wilson should be higher than Frerotte. He went to an NFC Championship game.
All right.
He had a whole case.
Different
Keenum
era,
thing.
bro. Different era.
Here's
Frerotte had
my,
a 99-yard touchdown though.
That's one play
in one
On prime
regular
time.
season game.
On prime time, though, in front of the world.
Farad
He
did
went
this
back to the
twice, though.
bench.
That adds to the legend. Farad did it in 2 different seasons. We got to get to Ron Johnson here too.
Are we?
Let's
does
get
that
his thoughts
mean
on
I
backup
don't-
quarterback.
Let's get
Okay,
Ron
yeah.
Johnson's thoughts on journeyman veteran backups. Ron Johnson at 3. Ron Johnson, host of the Ron Johnson Show. Driving through the suburbs. Ron, we're debating great Vikings backups in history. I don't know if you remember the Cunningham era with Moss and Carter, 98, but there's some debate amongst
Remember
us
those years?
between, well, I mean, that was 1 year before you got to campus, right? So, I mean, that was probably
Were
all the
you
rage.
alive in 1998?
Ron, do you have a favorite Vikings backup story of a QB that's come in and dominated?
I mean, honestly, I heard some of you guys talking about it. I will say, I mean, Case Keenum, I don't think there is a better story than Case Keenum. Even though they got shellacked in the NFC Championship game, he got them there. The Minneapolis Miracle happened because of him. So I would say that. I would say that was one of the best comeback, I guess, quarterbacks in my remembrance. Because 1998 to 2005, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't a huge Vikings follower other than Randy Moss, Chris Carter, so on and so forth. But didn't really dive too much into the purple when I was on campus at the University of Minnesota. I almost had, I thought when you said backup, I was thinking comeback. Almost in my mind, I heard the Chris Pratt joke about the greatest comeback story of all time. And I'm not going to tell that
show,
one.
Ron.
Yeah, I know. So if you want to hear the joke, just Google Chris Pratt comeback story.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that. Yeah. That's funny. So probably without Osborne, definitely without Akers, skill position's a little battered here on Sunday. How do you feel about that group around Josh Dobbs now? And probably no Jefferson either, by all reports. So depleted receiving core, running back core a little banged up as well. How you feeling about that group?
They haven't run the ball all year anyway. So honestly, I don't think it matters. I really don't. I think Josh Dobbs getting 66 yards on 7 carries becomes your de facto RB1. He is going to get, I think, a decent amount of running now that Kevin O'Connell knows he can do it. I don't think it's going to be forced runs, but I think it's going to be, hey, here's your internal clock. If it's not there, run the ball because you can run the ball. Also, play action. Most quarterbacks on play action kind of read high to low or low to high, or they have a 1 to 2 read. So if it's I have an underneath route and I'm running play action to the right, then I have a deep over and a post. He teaches you how to read it. I think his third read, instead of a dump off to a running back, is going to be run. So if you look at the Vikings, I think, 3rd and 1 to 5? The Vikings on 3rd and 1 to 5 have run the ball 9 times. They've thrown it 47. So they have the biggest discrepancy of 3rd and 1 to 5 in the NFL. It's no secret they don't even want to run the ball on 3rd and 1. So I don't think, a running back like Cam Akers being out is going to make a huge difference because they don't really run the ball anyway.
Luke.
Yeah, Ron, you've played in the league, so I want to know from your eyes, your opinion, how tough is it to ask a guy to come in, learn an entire new playbook on the fly, all the verbiage, the lingo, the checks, and be thrown in the fire for really any offensive skill player? You played wideout, but no less a quarterback. And I guess, too, how long should we realistically wait until we can say, okay, he should be about as up to speed as he can get given the situation? How many more weeks until you think he could have a great command of this offense and feel confident in what he's doing?
Great command. Are we going to go back in time and go to training camp? Because I think that's about the only way he's going to have a great command of this offense. I don't think it's going to come this season. I'm not going to lie. I think it's going to be, if he plays the rest of the season out, and we never see Jaron Hall again, or we never hear from Nick Mullins. I think the biggest thing is going to be, hey, Dre, put me with you. When you look at the ability of them to change and move, and like what goes on in this offense, there's no way to master it in a short amount of time. So I just think Kevin O'Connell, the way it's built, the way it's been put together, it's not meant to be mastered. I mean, look at Kirk Cousins in year 1 and year 2. Like even he has gotten better in year 2. So I just think this is an offense that Kevin O'Connell is going to keep spoon feeding through the headset. The best thing is technology, and that's in Kevin O'Connell's favor. Imagine the 60s and 70s, Kevin O'Connell trying to do what he did. He can't do it. He's going to be yelling to the sideline like, hey, watch for the safety coming down. You got the post, and you also have the out route. Like you can't do it without technology. So I don't think he's going to master it, but I think he's smart. Clearly, he's an astrophysicist or something, or astroscientist or whatever he is. I think he'll be all right, but he's not going to master it this season.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Ron, tell me if I'm crazy. If
you're crazy,
okay, well, I know like generally, but like about this, with Josh Dobbs running, and just like, what if they just started doing zone read? Like that doesn't change a whole lot about the blocking. Can you just tell Josh Dobbs like, hey man, if the defensive end crashes, just keep it, dude. Like nobody else needs to know.
Not only zone read, but also RPO. When you think about the zone read, you're dead on. If he sticks it in his stomach. Now this is the thing though. In 4 days? In 4 days, maybe 5 days, even Saturday night in the hotel. Old school college football where you walk through in the hotel ballroom. Can Alexander Madison and him get on the same page with the mesh? Like, can he understand what it feels like to feel a ball in his stomach and say, you better not take this until I give it to you? And that's the hardest thing with a mesh like that is you don't see a ton of it, but you guys know, you see the fumble where it's like, oh, he stuck it in his stomach and then he thought he had it. He didn't know if he's keeping it. He pulled it late and the running back thought it was his. But yeah, I could see like some version of it where like if they're crashing and you see it right away, you kind of give a token fake or you put it in, pull it out, RPO, throw the slant right behind the linebacker's head who runs up. But this is the problem. If I'm facing the Vikings, do my linebackers even care about the run? Probably not. Like that's the sad part about this offense is there's nothing about this offense that's making linebackers feel like I need to shoot the gap right now. The Tennessee Titans, the Baltimore Ravens, I got to shoot the gap. Minnesota Vikings, let's play the pass because they're going to pass the ball 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, fair enough. So first of all, definitive proof that bald guys are better at quarterback in the NFL. Just no bias here. I just wanted to throw that out there. See what you do with
Brian
that.
Hoyer. Representing.
Yeah. But I mean, I think
Sean
one
Mania.
thing that oh right, well he needs to admit it. That's the thing. But you always do better when you admit it. But the thing that we don't really talk about a ton is the coaching job that Kevin O'Connell did. I think that like, can you speak on like he has like 10 to 17 seconds every play to tell Dobbs like what's going on. You need your eyes here. Here's what's happening on the left. Here's what's happening on the right. Watch out for this in protection. We saw this linebacker do this. Like the ability not just to figure out what he can say in 10 to 17 seconds, but like how to communicate it efficiently and effectively. Can you talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah. So what I've been told, honestly, the biggest thing that he did, and this is not unheard of to do. I just think the amount of information given was ridiculous. Because I was in an offense with the coach where we in the headset gave Peyton Manning 3 plays. And so Tom Moore would say, here's your 3 formations, here's your 3 plays. And he would give him 3 plays. From there, as he's getting off or signing off, Clyde Christensen, who was the wide receivers coach, and then Frank Wright, who now is the head coach, was the quarterbacks coach. They would both kind of chime in real quick and say, hey, Peyton, just heads up. If you have 1 high safety, this is probably the play you want to get into. If you have 2 high, there's the play. And then that was it. From there, they let Peyton cook. And so I think what Kevin O'Connell did is it wasn't multiple plays, but it was just the 1 play and then saying, hey, here's everything that you might see as much as I can give you real quick. 2 high safety, check the middle. 1 high safety, check the flat. And he was kind of giving them some of the, hey, if we have a shallow route and a dig route, watch for the linebacker. That's going to be your read here. Boom, go. And that's all he was doing, was trying to help him out through some of the small checks that Kirk knows that he knows that Josh does not know within this offense. And I think Luke Braun did a great job of the touchdown run. 2 throws that Kirk Cousins probably makes. He probably hits T.J. Hawkinson up at top, and he probably maybe late hits Tristan Jackson. But we know Kirk hasn't always been the best at the off schedule, like after making 2 or 3 steps to the run to throw a touchdown, but he might have. Josh Dobbs didn't look at either of them. He pulled a Jamie Foxx, and I remember Bill Bellamy just being pissed off, like, "Yo, I'm open. Hey, I got a touchdown though, so we're good. We're good." It's like Jordan Poole. I don't know if you guys saw the Jordan Poole clip with the Wizards where his dude came off the sideline and said, "Man, I'm wide open under the basket." He said, "But I made the 3. Next time, if you want the ball, get the rebound." Like, that's kind of what Josh Dobbs said. Like, just make the block. I got it. If I come to you, I'm gonna come to you. But hey, just know electricity is about to happen. So I think Kevin O'Connell is giving him as much as he can, but there's still going to be times where he just doesn't know. Like, he just doesn't realize it's single high. I got to go to the fade route, or if it's press coverage, it's check fade, not comeback. Some of that little stuff that seems simple, when bullets are flying, it gets hectic. So I think Kevin's trying to give him just a little bit to calm him down under center.
Ron, in closing, your thoughts on Derek Carr, another quarterback that is perpetually ranked kind of right in the middle of the league. Saints committed to him as their starter. What do you think of him?
So Derek Carr, I mean, I've always been a fan of him with the Raiders. I think he was underutilized. I think the Raiders organization, which is why he wanted to get out of there, clearly was a dying animal. I don't know what you want to call it. But when you look at the tail of the tape, Josh Dobbs to Derek Carr, crazy enough to say, they're even. I mean, they both thrown 10 interceptions. Josh Dobbs threw 10 touchdowns. Josh Dobbs threw 5 interceptions to Derek Carr's 4. You look at QBR, Josh Dobbs has the edge, 52 to 51. Passer rating, 89 to 83. Edge goes to Carr. Completion percentage, 65 to 63. Like, they're literally like mirror images of each other. And this is a guy that's the franchise of one team, and the other guy just showed up in Minnesota a week ago. So that tells you everything you need to know about Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is good, but I also think they have Taysom Hill, and they're trying to validate paying Taysom Hill what they did. So I think they're overusing him in certain situations where it should just be a Derek Carr play or show. And they're trying to highlight Taysom Hill, which is great for our defense because we have 3 safeties. So we don't have to check out of stuff in order to worry about Taysom Hill. We can just line up in our base 3 safety package. And one of the safeties is going to identify Taysom Hill, whether it's Cam Bynum or it's Josh Metellus. And I think that's the cool thing about the way Brian Flores has his defense set up.
He's Ron Johnson at 3 Ron Johnson on X, host of the Ron Johnson Show and of the Friday Roundtable, which will air tomorrow. He'll also be on the Gophers postcast and the Vikings postcast. See Ron almost every day of the week here at Locked On Sports Minnesota. Thank you, Ron.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff as always from Ron Johnson.
I think Ron was about to go play some pickup basketball at Lifetime. I think that's what was going on.
Seemed like it. Hey, and Ron
put
was
that
so
child's
distracted.
play away, Sam. This is great.
Ron was so distracted that he actually complimented Luke Braun. Did you hear that?
I feel like Ron and Braun are friends now. I feel like the beef.
It's the postcasts. We've been through the trenches together, you know?
It's kind of fun to say, too. Ron and Braun.
And Hasan.
Braun Johnson.
And Hasan.
Nah, I'm good.
We've got parlays.
If a Leaf starts being nice to me, that's how I know it's a hostage situation.
You're in the opposite world. Yeah.
Wait. We didn't go over my backups.
Yeah, we'll get back. We'll get to that. Okay. I promise you. I promise we're going to get to it. Let's talk about Jase Medical first, though. Let me tell you about a way that you can have peace of mind and security, because there's a lot of unpredictability in the world. You know, there are supply chain shortages, and you want to have the right medical care. Go online right now, jasemedical.com. Receive your 12-month supply on your daily medication. Remember to use the promo code LOCKDOWN at checkout for a discount as well. But a verified customer had this to say about Jase. I'm thankful for this service. Supply chain issues caused me to cut pills in half to have it. I ordered most of my daily meds with a year's supply. I also ordered an antibiotic kit. I feel secure now. Prices are lower than local pharmacies. I highly recommend this for everyone. I've had good experiences with Jase Medical as well, and you can too. If you or someone you love would get peace of mind by having your supply of any daily med, go to jasemedical.com to see if it's offered for you. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your purchase. Jase gives you life-saving antibiotics, doctor-created, doctor-recommended, ongoing care from their physicians as well. Once again, jasemedical.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your Jase Case to get the medical care that you need to feel secure. All right, Arif Hasan, give us your very literal list of backups, and then we're going to do parlays.
All right, honorable mention goes to Teddy Bridgewater, filled in for Matt Castle spectacularly. Then Gus Frerotte, number 5. Sam Bradford, number 4, filled in for Sean Hill spectacularly. I thought that was a really great season from him. Learning the Pat Shurmur offense on the fly, incredible work. Then Case Keenum, obviously. Then I have to go Brad Johnson, obviously, great
after
backup.
Dante.
Yeah, great backup.
Actually, an honorable mention on my list, yeah. They should not have made him the 2006 starter, though. That was dumb.
Yeah, I don't know about that. All I know about him is that he was a backup. And Joshua Dobbs, number 1, obviously.
The Pasternaut.
Yeah, I would have put Brett Favre on the list, but I feel like the 2010 was kind of dragged him down a little bit.
Yeah.
Backing up Sage Rosenfels in 2009, is that the idea?
And T-Jack. Let's come on.
Sage and T-Jack hadn't settled that battle yet. That could have been
right.
Sage's
Yeah. Sage almost made the list just because I like him, like personally. So he was a good dude.
Did Sage actually play a snap in Minnesota?
Yeah, that's why I left him off because but otherwise,
yeah,
all the qualities I'm looking for in a backup quarterback, which is their willingness to talk to me.
The great Sage story I remember. In 2010, Childress came to him and said, "Hey, Sage, you want us to, find a trade partner for you now that Brett is back?" And Sage said, "Yeah, I think I'd like to stay here and just kind of see this thing out.
See what happens." Yeah,
had a lot of fun last year. Next day, Sage, we've traded you to the Giants.
I've applied Arif's logic to come up with a much better list. Number 5 is going to be Wade Wilson for me for previously mentioned reasons. Number 4 is Teddy filling in for Matt Castle.
Yeah,
of course, did a great job. Yep. For me, number 3 is Tommy Kramer. Spent many years as a backup. Did a great job filling in 1977. Fantastic comeback win against San Francisco.
Yeah, there you go.
Dante Culpepper spent his whole first year as a backup, so he's number 2.
I should have put him on that list.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, Fran Tarkenton filling in for George Shaw in 1961 ends up with a Hall of Fame career. I don't know how everybody else couldn't have him at number 1, but
but that's just me.
Filled in for George Shaw after just 3 snaps of George Shaw. I mean, truly took the job immediately.
Wow. Yeah, great. Didn't even. Sam, we're using your logic here.
I don't think we can say that anymore.
I have nothing more to say. Hey, Luke Inman and I took this exercise seriously.
No, you didn't.
You know what, Luke? We can feel good about
Cunningham on the list. I know you didn't take it seriously. And Luke didn't come up with the list.
Wait, I came up with the list.
I believe he did. Luke and I are locked.
No, we just had the exact same list. Yeah. True. All right. All right.
Luke and I did this show for like a year, and we often duplicated each other's lists. So
did Luke go second most of the time?
Every single time Luke went second.
Can I put Warren Moon on this list? I'm going to put Warren Moon at number 1.
Oh man,
how could I? I should have put Cunningham on my list too, but I was more focused on the bit. So
I just wanted to get some Derek Carr slander in too before we do this these parlays.
He's gonna block you on Twitter,
dude. Ron was all about Derek Carr.
I think Derek Carr's deep ball is broken. Like, he's one of the most aggressive deep throwers in the league, and it was broken his last year in Vegas, and it's broken this year with the Saints. And he's 28th in completion percentage, 27th in yards per attempt. And I think Dennis Allen, or as KO calls him, DA. I like the initials thing that these new coaches do. DA.
DA is like that's like district attorney. I'm not about that one.
The DA.
I think they just
Is
told
that who
him,
has
hey,
your car?
huh?
DC.
DC Comics. I think they told him to stop. I think they said, stop throwing deep. You stink at it. And he didn't. He literally had 0 deep attempts against the Bears. All first read. Went pretty well for him, honestly. He was super decisive.
He's been good against the blitz, though. He's been good against
Part of this
against
is with the blitz. Apparently, his depth of target has gone up when blitzed. So he's getting pressure and just heaving them. And I think he stopped doing that against Chicago. I think that was the
3
big
TDs, 1 pick, 90 QBR against the blitz. So
90 passer rating or 90 QBR?
QBR.
That's really good. Wow.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
It's pretty much boom or bust with he loves to basically just go deep to Rashid, right? Shaheed. He loves to give him a chance on some deep balls. So I guess, if you're Flores, you're right. Like, Carr hasn't looked like a Hall of Fame quarterback this year, but against the blitz, that's the one guy you got to make sure doesn't get over the top of you.
This is crazy. I'm looking up Carr deep ball numbers, and his deep ball percentage has basically gone up almost every year. Because when you said he's an aggressive deep ball thrower, I was like, that wasn't who he was. He famously did not love throwing it deep, despite having an insane arm at Fresno State, right? He didn't throw deep there.
Yeah.
Shows up to Oakland, I guess. Doesn't throw deep there, right? Darren Waller shows up. Sometimes he's like, yeah, I might be able to throw it deep a little bit. I don't know. John Gruden shows up, actually coaches him for once in this guy's life. And he starts throwing deep, starts looking good. Some emails leak. Who's to say how, And Derek Carr stops throwing deep, and then he stops throwing deep well. And now it's broken forever. But this guy had the highest screen percentage of any draftable quarterback in college when he was coming out. It was impossible to evaluate him and watch his tape if he didn't throw the ball 600 times, because 40% of them were 2 yards or under. So it is so interesting that we're just he sees Olave deep, he's going to chuck it. And it's that's not.
He's got one of the best Pro Bowl highlights when he just bombed one to T.Y. Hilton, 68 yards downfield, off platform, rolling to his right. He's got
I thought you were going to talk about his interview at the Pro Bowl, where someone asked him how he was. This is right after, last year with the Raiders. Someone asked him how he was doing, interview, for NFL, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the NFL Network. And someone asked him how he's doing. He's like, not hot.
All right.
Yeah. He's like, how you feeling? Not great.
That's hilarious.
That's the most likable I've ever seen this dude in my life. He's his whole deal, personally, culturally, politically, is just not for me, right? But then he's just like, this sucks, doesn't it? And I'm like, yeah, I'm right here with you, bud. You're my guy. He needs to get.
We got to do parlays. Week 10. So we started out with a $1,000 bankroll. I'm at 1,902. Arif, you are in second, about 1,000 behind, 926.80. Braun, 615. Luke Inman getting a little. The coffers are a little empty. 450 for you. Maximum $1,000
are a little empty.
The coffers.
Those are English words, Luke.
Got it. Sure. Got it.
Sure. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm still waiting for someone to throw a max bet out there. Max bet. I guess I'm the only one who could afford it.
I was max betting all the beginning of the season.
That's true. You were when the max was 200, 300. But yes, you were, to your credit. Inman is first. Luke Inman, kick us off.
I'm up first, huh? Okay. I'm going to save my prop for the second time around. I'm going to go. We got a bunch of homers in here. I'm going to go with the Vikings. Okay. Bear with me. Winning margin by 1 to 13 points. We know they can't win by more than a touchdown. Okay. They beat the Packers by 2 scores. But outside of that, Vikings to win by 1 to 13 points. That's at plus 165 right now. Mark me down.
You got it. Arif Hasan.
I'll take, let's see, which one is more likely to be taken by somebody else? Neither of them. Doesn't matter. I'll take Cleveland Browns plus 6.5 against the Ravens. Ravens look outstanding, but the Browns, good defense. So
I was thinking about that one.
All right. The Browns defense is nuts, but I just like
It is.
that. Yeah.
It's hard. You knock the absolute doors off of two good teams in a row, and it's hard to keep that going. Like that momentum is you burn a lot of your hand doing that, you know?
Yeah. Are you like an anti-momentum guy right now? Is that what's happening?
Well,
Negative
nothing else is
momentum?
working for me. Am I up?
Yeah, you are up. You're 1-8 this year on parlays.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's parlays, man.
It's parlays, man.
It's hard.
Not...
It's rough. I'm gonna go. I'm going conservative just because I need a dub. I need to get a little bit of breathing room here. So I'm just kind of taking a conservative Packers under 17.5, which is at -118. The market really likes that against the Steelers. It's a good defense, and the Packers offense is a mess. So let's hope that they have another mess.
Who knows? They just put it together at any time.
They kind of put
All
it
right.
together last week against the Rams.
That's the whole Steelers offense. They kind of put it together the whole year.
Yeah, it's like they just do enough. They're doing the 2022 Vikings things where they can only win one score games.
But everyone
and then they
likes
get,
Mike
dusted.
Tomlin. Everyone likes Mike Tomlin, so it's just like
Except Steelers fans, I guess. Well, some Steelers,
some
some
Steelers
select Pennsylvanians.
fans.
I've just read too much about how like deadly betting big numbers are for the favorite. Like I'm going plus 17.5 on the Giants. I don't care who the quarterback is. It could be George Shaw at his current age. I would still take the Giants plus 17.5 at Dallas.
Man.
George Shaw.
Well, who is it? Who is it? Tommy
Dallas.
DeVito.
Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, Tommy
and by
DeVito.
the way,
Oh my God.
by the way, I'm just tossing this in there at FanDuel. You can do a $5 money line.
Oh, it could be
wager
Danny
on
DeVito for all you care. Danny DeVito.
Right, yeah.
Danny DeVito. I'm
It might be
taking
the
the
same
Giants
height.
spread, but you can take the Cowboys money line, $5 to win 23 cents, but $150 in bonus bets if you win. Just saying.
30-1 odds on the Cowboys money line. You can get it.
Yeah, it's all getting the bonus bet. I understand.
Yeah.
Anyway,
My
Sam,
second-
you're the snake, right? Okay, yeah.
Second pick, I'm going to ride the Raiders and their new interim coach, who I love. I'm going to crank up their alternate spread against the Jets, who stink. Raiders -6.5 at home
Jets
for a $100 parlay worth up to $526 plus 526.
Well, I've got Aiden O'Connell, so hopefully you're right.
Yeah. All right, Braun.
I'm going to do a Thursday night thing. A Thursday night over because I'm really smart.
Phew.
Adam Thielen over 6.5 receptions. He's just such a safety blanket for Byron.
So close. I was so
for
close
Bryce
to taking
Young.
Adam Thielen. I was so close to taking Adam.
I
Thielen.
feel like it's a decent wager every week to just be like, I don't know, he'll get like 19 dump offs and
yeah,
maybe
who
a
else
2-yard
they're gonna
touchdown.
throw it to? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That puts me at plus 238, and I'll min bet, which is 100, which is what I've been doing all year. So
Brief.
I'm also taking a Thursday night game. I'm also taking an over in the same vein of intellectualism as Luke Braun.
oh no.
Sam, you said that you've read too much, and I clocked out immediately because that's not a problem the three of us have. None of us know how to read. So I'm going to take DJ Moore over 58.5 receiving yards. I don't trust the Panthers to tackle or do much of anything, actually, but DJ Moore can get some stuff after the catch. So I'm going to take him. So altogether, Browns plus 6.5, DJ Moore over 58.5. That's plus 256, wagering the minimum.
Plus 256. Luke Inman, take us home.
Okay, well, we all just begged on Derek Carr for a while. Give me the under passing yards, 244.5. That's at minus
tricked him.
114. Tricked him. We got him. It worked, guys. Vikings win by 1 through 13. That's at plus 165. Put it together. Plus 397. We're going to throw down $200. $200. Win 794. It
And
just
then
takes one. It just
you're-
takes
yeah.
one. I've done this
I get
before.
it. You're behind right now. I get it.
Takes
Totally
one.
makes sense.
That's all
Yeah.
you need.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Sam, how
Nobody
much
has
did you
gone
bet?
negative yet. But if
How much
Inman
did you
loses
bet,
this
Sam?
one, he'll be flirting with it. Good show, gents. We will talk on Monday after the Saints game. We'll have the postcast on Sunday. Luke, you'll be in Mexico getting married, but
something like that.
Luke, Braun, and I will hold the fort.
Tell
down.
Callie I said hi, and if you found a new wife, my condolences to both of them.
I'll let her know. She'll be thrilled.
Finally rid of you.
Check out the 24/7 YouTube live stream as well. Check out all the postcasting that Luke Inman is doing. Record-setting postcast last Sunday after the Vikings game. Record-setting Wolves postcast on Monday. Great stuff happening there with some red-hot local sports teams. Thanks, Arif. Thanks, Luke. I'm Sam Ekstrom. It's the Minnesota Football Party on Locked On Sports Minnesota.